when do people just hit the limit? The limit of not being surprised by this stuff anymore. The limit of not being mad, just being that disappointed dad who says, well, I don't know what to say. Because that's kind of where I'm at this point. I almost don't know what to say about the ineptitude of Motorsport Games and also the trap that NASCAR and IndyCar have fallen into by basically hooking themselves up to them for the long term. And there's a lot to go over in this one. There's a lot of people who have put some pretty good stuff out about it, and we're going to have their stuff pop up throughout the video, whether I talk about it or not, or if I directly read from it or not. There is a lot of bad. I'm not going to lie. There is really no good coming out of the NASCAR console gaming industry side of things, and the only thing you really hear anymore is bad news. And to kick this all off, we're going to go with the biggest news, and that is that NASCAR and IndyCar's games have been delayed to 2024. Now, I'm going to play for you some of the conference call clips that JPET27 got on Twitter, and see the difference between what Motorsport Games says in their conference calls and what actually is happening or will plan to have happen. So, without further ado, here's some of it.
Now, as far as NASCAR is concerned for this year, what we mentioned is that we'll look to bring the 2023 season to pretty much all of the platforms that our products are currently available at. As far as release date for that, we have a lot of historical data that shows us that sometime towards the playoffs part of the season is a good time for us to have our content ready and to bring it to the community. But when we're ready to announce that, we will definitely publicize and showcase where and on which platforms it will be released when. We also launched the next-gen cars for test drives within our game. We further continue to invest in our NASCAR fan base by offering them something that we have never done, which was to provide the 2022 season expansion DLC update to existing NASCAR 21 ignition holders for absolutely free. And this came after we were able to make the NASCAR 21 ignition compatible for the new-gen consoles. Additionally, we brought our NASCAR 21 ignition game and our karting simulator game, KartCraft, for the first time to NVIDIA GeForce Now, allowing people to enjoy these experiences by leveraging cloud through selected mobile and smart TV devices. And we finished off the year in our NASCAR franchise by releasing the new NASCAR game for the Nintendo Switch platform that we called NASCAR Rivals, which was our official game of the 2022 NASCAR Cup Series season. Today, we continue to focus on the development of our IndyCar, NASCAR, and Le Mans gaming experiences. We recently attracted expert advisors in the gaming space to help consult on our games being developed.
Honestly, this isn't something I'm that shocked about. It's been this way since Motorsport Games has entered the sphere of NASCAR. And it's all kind of punctuated by the fact that Motorsport Games has lost, as of their reporting, $35.9 million, or just about $36 million in 2022 alone. Yet they're also, again, asking for investors to put more money into what is, by the day, seeming more and more likely to have just been a giant money scheme. And with some reporting from Mike Straw, an Insider Gaming journalist, he says, some sources tell me NASCAR 23 never fully made it out of the design stage. The game was never going to be a reality this year. After a while, everyone just assumed it would be another update, one source said. And he also continues to say that he will hopefully have more about it later this week, so we may talk about this again before Friday. And to be completely honest, again, I'm not shocked. Motorsport Games has shown an amazing amount of ineptitude from the top, especially in how they run things, and no one really expected this game to be made. At this point, you would think that, maybe the yearly release schedule part of the contract would mean that they should basically have their deals ended right there and then. Well, the answer to this is a resounding No. No, that is not what's going to happen. You see, they are signed through 2029 to put out some form of a NASCAR game every year. Now, maybe if IndyCar has a similar deal, they can get out of it, as nothing is coming out till 2024. But for NASCAR, they're in a bit of a worse boat, simply because of the fact that, well, they're putting out Heat 5 reskins on the Switch, like with NASCAR Rivals, and calling that a quote-unquote new game, thus fulfilling their contract with NASCAR. And they can just do this on patchwork deals, going back and forth between maybe some on the console being reskins of Heat 5 and then going back on the Switch if they're really far behind already their horrible schedule, and can do this till the contracts end. That end is in 2029. Now, I started my YouTube channel in 2018. I was 20 years old. 2029 will mean that I will be 32 years old when this contract ends. And the last time I can remember a game honestly being really good was probably NASCAR 07, which came out in 2006. I was 8. Again, I was 8 years old the last time there was a universally loved NASCAR game. By the time this ends, I will be 32. It will have been 24 years between a universally loved NASCAR game and the possibility, because let's be honest, if we stay with Motorsport Games, we're not going to get a good game. We're going to get absolute dog crap. That's all we're going to get from this. And the irreparable damage that's been done to the community by Motorsport Games on its own through this contract so far and to the end of it will make this side of the NASCAR community completely unrecognizable. And it, at this point, is becoming that way. With no console game, there is no entryway for new fans or casual fans who may not really watch NASCAR all that much, but want a fun racing game and pick it up and maybe can get in that way. Instead, these fans will either A, have to go to iRacing, which is a huge financial burden for a lot of fans that, quite frankly, don't need it. It's a very niche side of the fandom, and, well, there's really no way around it. Or they go with the way I've been going and just don't play a game at all. I'm not going to pay a bunch for iRacing because I'd much rather cover iRacing. Then you have the other way. They go to Formula One. Formula One at this point has become the premier series when it comes to racing games in America. They have overtaken NASCAR in this part, and it's helping them immensely with a younger fan base. Their game, even if it has bugs or issues, is playable, and honestly, from everyone I've talked to that's played it and the brief time I've played it, pretty damn good. But NASCAR, on the other hand, has a broken game as the only game that's really been released on this side of 2020? It's ridiculous. So that is going to make the community unrecognizable because with about a 10-year gap of nothing worth playing, all of the people who could have been playing it will be with F1. Newer NASCAR fans will probably be less and less at that rate on the gaming side, and you're going to have a huge void that there's just not going to be enough people to fill. And this also happens on the content creator side. Now, I'm going to give you some insight from a YouTuber point of view on this. And I understand you might roll your eyes at this just because it's not something most people will connect with, but I think it has a really important part on gaming in particular. I'm not saying I'm a Hall of Famer or anything like that, but what I'm saying is that YouTubers playing video games has always been a giant part of this site, as well as on Twitch, for instance. And from my perspective, I have seen the change, both firsthand and secondhand, when it comes to creators going on console games. Once again, NASCAR fans and NASCAR creators are playing older games like Thunder 04, Chase for the Cup, maybe NR 2003, or like I said, iRacing. This side of it has been completely cleared out. Many creators have completely ditched the console side altogether, so there's no real bedrock anymore for those who would be supporting the community on a large scale and get followers to play these games. Instead, there's been more hype for my buddy Idk Player's game on Roblox, and honestly, it played better than NASCAR 21. I played both, it played better. So, on multiple levels, a huge void that may not get filled as quickly as it happened is being and will continue to be formed from this ultimate debacle. And I want you to remember this. Remember, this is who IndyCar went with when they killed IndyCar's iRacing community and the iRacing Indy 500. I want you at home who were part of that or like that to remember this. This is who IndyCar went with instead. And yes, there have been rumors. I've heard plenty of rumors that NASCAR is trying to get out of it. I don't doubt those whatsoever, but it hasn't happened yet. So I want you to remember this. All of this, when any new game comes out, don't pre-order it. Don't go out there and give your money without doing the proper research. Don't give a company your money for a faulty product. You don't see this in any other form of industry, really. It's just something that gamers seem to be okay with. Now, I'm not saying necessarily to full-on boycott it. If Motorsport Games does, by some miracle, make a great game, great. Buy it, support it, show them that's what you want. But the thing is, that's not going at the level of the NASCAR Heat games. Yes, NASCAR Heat 4 was a serviceable game that was bordering on the level of good, and you could say the same about Heat 5 after the bugs got ironed out. But those were not great games. Those were outdated games. That is not the standard that people should be holding NASCAR games to. So what I'm saying is, don't give money because they say it'll be good for the next one. Give your money for quality products that you care about. I know that it would be really fun to fall into that trap again of having hope of a new game being good from Motorsport Games, but they have shown nothing so far to do that, which again is why I say, unless you're playing it for free at a friend's house, or you can get it for free, or it's a good game, don't put your money or time into anything that they give until it's great. Because I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually kind of miss the NASCAR Heat days simply for having a game that works. And I'm not saying that that's my standard. I will not play the Heat games again. I'll stick with Thunder 04 or Total Team Control. I have both of those in my old Xbox right now. I'll play those gladly. But, you know, all we've gotten from Motorsport Games is lies. And the worst NASCAR game ever, as well as a money-burning machine with a cratering stock price. So with that, I know it sucks to have another negative video about gaming, but I'm going to give this off to you. What do you think the future of NASCAR console gaming looks like? Is there hope? Do you think they'll get out of it? Or do you think it's a hopeless endeavor until 2029? Let me know down in the comments below everything you think about this. And hey, let people from NASCAR know in a respectful way. Don't call people idiots. Don't go out of your way to be rude or mean to people in power, but tell people straight up, this is not the standard of game you want. Let people know that there is still a passionate base that wants a good game. So be sure to like the video as well. Be sure to share it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you to all my channel members for your continued support. And we'll probably talk more about this on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast tomorrow night on my channel, The Iceberg. So until then, have a good one.